My mom thought my chest was too small and suspected underdevelopment, so she dragged me to see a doctor. The doctor turned out to be my ex who just broke up with me. He looked cold and spoke distantly. Lift your clothes to the collarbone and undo your bra. He deliberately teased me again. They are quite small. I gritted my teeth and shifted the blame the ex-boyfriend for not working hard enough on these small breasts. The next second I was pinned against the examination bed as his voice turned dangerous. The examination wasn't thorough enough. It seems I still have more work to do. One patient number 52 Eva, please proceed to examination room 2. The moment the triage machine called out the name, I stared at the 6 large characters on the doorplate, thoracic surgeon Brian, grinding my teeth in frustration. I caught a glimpse of that lean figure through the glass door. The faint outline of his waist beneath the white coat brought back some indescribable memories. Just a month ago, this same waist was pressing down on me while murmuring one last time. Now he is putting on this refined scoundrel act. Were you standing there for my mom? Slapped me on the back. Brian is an overseas returned expert. Getting an appointment with him is like winning the lottery. His mom and I are close friends. That's the only reason I managed to snag the slot. Before I could even ask how she knew his mother, a cool voice called out. Next, the consultation room door swung open. The man I hadn't seen in a month wore a blue surgical mask, his white coat sleeves slightly rolled up, his gaze indifferent as his long eyebrows arched slightly. Want to get back together here for consultation? I stiffened my neck, catching the subtle bob of his Adam as apple from the corner of my eye. Where does it hurt? Before I could answer, my mother barged in like an arrow. Brian, it's your Lena here. Take a look at my daughter. Her chest is so small. Is she underdeveloped or something? My mother's booming voice echoed through the examination room. My toes had already involuntarily begun constructing an entire fairy castle from sheer embarrassment. Auntie Brian adjusted his glasses. Breast size is influenced by genetics, nutrition. Exactly. My mother nodded repeatedly. Do you think it might be because she drank the wrong formula as a baby? As Brian wrote, patient S family suspects formula caused underdeveloped breasts on the medical record. I've already cringed so hard I could dig out the entire second phase of Magic Fairy Castle with my toes. If I've committed any sins, let the law punish me. Not force me to see a doctor, because my own mother suspects my small chest is due to underdevelopment. And the doctor turns out to be my ex-boyfriend from our breakup just a month ago. A physical examination is needed. Brian stood up, offering a professional smile toward my mother. Family members, please step outside. Clutching the registration slip, I forced a stiff smile. Can we switch to a different doctor? Without lifting his head, his tone distant and indifferent. Exit and turn right to register for a new queue. Oh no, need the wait would take forever. My mother immediately pressed me onto the examination bed. What is wrong with a male doctor? Why are you young people still so old-fashioned? In a doctor's eyes, there are no genders. I was utterly resigned. No genders in a doctor's eyes, but what about an ex-boyfriend's? Besides, since when does a thoracic surgery specialist deal with underdevelopment? 2. Brian reached up to pull the curtain shut, adjusted his glasses on the bridge of his nose, and motioned to me. Lift your clothes up and undo your bra. I clutched the hem of my shirt tightly, glaring at him with displeasure. You're using your position to settle personal scores. With both hands tucked in his white coat, he remained perfectly composed and coolly reminded me. Eva, first of all, you were the one who booked my appointment. Secondly, I'm a doctor. Treating patients is my job. Lastly, is there any part of you I haven't seen before? Me fine, you win. I gritted my teeth, took a deep breath, and unhooked my bra. With a determined heart and closed eyes, I lifted my top up. His hands were slightly cold, and I couldn't help but shiver when they touched my skin. Don't be nervous. Who's nervous? Your heart rate is too high, he murmured with a barely perceptible smile, lowering his head as he examined me with great focus. Can you feel this? I turned my head to the side and let out a soft hum. Nothing. He frowned, visibly puzzled. I just don't feel anything. Brian's technique was terrible. We've already broken up. Did you expect me to keep pretending? Since I couldn't win with physical advantages, I chose to dominate verbally instead. Oh, my technique was bad. He lowered his gaze, slightly looking at me through his glasses, with a cold, deep voice. Eva, you must speak with your conscience. I cursed inwardly. ISNT, my conscience being held by you right now. The grip on my hand tightened even more. How about this time? He feels like you're pinching me. He raised his head, looked straight at me, and sighed. Any pain? No. Bloating or pain? No. Does it itch normally? Oh no, the itch. ISNT there. Me, Brian, have you touched enough? Blushing, I suddenly propped myself up, nearly bumping into his chin. Don't you know whether I'm sick or not? At the moment there doesn't seem to be any issue, but his hand finally released me, and his low chuckle suddenly filled the air. It is quite small. I gritted my teeth and retorted indignantly. Small breasts are the ex-boyfriend's fault for not putting in enough effort. My waist was suddenly pulled by him, and I instinctively leaned into his embrace. The faint scent of woody cologne wafted from his white coat into my nose. His breathing grew heavy, his voice laced with a hint of danger. What do you want me to try harder? So you're pulling the same trick again? His face wore undisguised mockery. 3. That's right, we got together purely because I pestered him relentlessly until he had no choice but to give in. Back then, I accompanied my best friend to her medical appointment and fell head over heels for Brian's breathtaking looks at first sight. White lab coat, gold-rimmed glasses, broad shoulders, and long legs, he exuded an aura of restrained allure turned up to the max. I've always had a thing for hands, and whenever he lowered his head to meticulously type medical records, those slender, well-defined fingers moved in a way that made my heart pound like a drum with every keystroke. I clutched the doorframe, swallowing hard as my heart rate skyrocketed. Suddenly I understood what they meant by the suspension bridge effect. Someone build me a cardiac bridge right this instant. When my best friend got arrhythmia from watching male models, I forced her to stay hospitalized for a month. From then on, I became an unofficial member of the thoracic surgery department. In the morning when I brought him milk tea, he said it had excessive sugar. At noon when I delivered a lunchbox, he criticized its nutritional imbalance. At night when I coincidentally ran into him, he lectured me about my irregular sleep schedule. After 30 consecutive days of pretending to faint into his arms due to low blood sugar, Brian finally cornered me on the stairs. Eva, what exactly are you trying to do? I gritted my teeth, standing on tiptoe to tug at his tie. Well, Brian, my heart rate skyrockets whenever I see you. What are we going to do about that? Later, when he pinned me against the wall to kiss me, I learned that even the untouchable Ice Prince bites when he asks desperate. But I soon discovered this man was a regular Tang Sung. 3 months into dating, before holding hands, half a year before unlocking a kiss. Every time I wanted deeper intimacy, he firmly refused me with those mesmerizing eyes. This is too fast. It took me 6 months of tug of war to finally seduce him into submission. But the supposedly unattainable flower, wasn't he cold at all in bed, wearing me out thoroughly every time. Romance should be been sweet, but his special job kept him practically living on the operating table. Leaving before 7 a.m. and returning around 9 p.m. became our normal routine. I came home hoping for some intimate time, but he still had to review medical records, write papers, and study for exams. Even the donkeys from the production brigade would call him Big Bro out of respect. At this age full of youthful vigor, I'm absolutely craving him. I can't stand this feast or famine kind of life anymore. On my birthday, I had already been single for half a month. I swore I would make a move on him. But just as the movie started, he got a call and rushed back to the hospital. I watched the movie alone, ate hot pot by myself, and was overwhelmed with loneliness and frustration. I texted him, but got no reply. When I brought food to the hospital to see him, he was deeply engrossed in discussing a patient's condition with a female doctor. The undisguised admiration on both their faces. They looked inexplicably perfect together. In that instant, the fire in my heart suddenly went out. For someone like Brian, sleeping together is one thing, but marriage, that's just not suitable. Him being an elite doctor at a top-tier hospital, me being a shallow writer obsessed with looks. We're truly mismatched, to be honest. At that moment, I suddenly didn't want to sleep with him anymore. So I broke up with him. He asked why, and I gave him a soul-crushing reason. Your technique is terrible. I blocked all his contact information again with a backhanded move. After the breakup, he never reached out to me again. Anyway, it's fair to say I was the one who dumped him. Now that I've accidentally booked an appointment under his name, it looks like I'm regretting it and chasing after him again. For I flusteredly turned my back and reached to fasten my bra clasp. Brian overthought things. My mom booked this appointment for me. Also, a man shouldn't he play the same game twice? I retorted defiantly. The buttons just wouldn't he fasten, no matter what. His figure loomed over me as he suddenly reached around my waist. With practiced ease, he helped fasten my bra hooks. This sudden gesture caught me completely off guard. He spoke before I could, his voice cool and detached. You're welcome. Practice makes perfect. I used to tease him about having dexterous hands, not just for holding scalpels but also for unhooking bras with one hand. Gritting my teeth, I deliberately replied with sarcasm. Brian is so considerate, he even helps female patients fasten their bras. He smiled faintly, completely unruffled. You're welcome. This is actually my first time treating a female patient who came specifically for having small breasts. Me, after a long silence, I was still trying to figure out how to counter that remark. My mother knocked and entered first. Seeing my pale complexion, she anxiously asked Brian, my daughter, doesn't he have some kind of illness, does she? Brian retreated to a safe distance. Annie, don't worry, there's no problem. My mother let out a long sigh of relief. That's good. Then she asked with deep distress, but her sister and I are both D cups, how come she has only an A? I silently buried my face in my palms. Perhaps he suppressed a laugh and adjusted his glasses. She takes after her uncle. The air turned deathly still. My mother still refused to give up. Then, is there really no hope for my daughter's chest? I do recommend eating more papaya. Brian's gaze swept over me with ambiguous intensity, his lips curling into a distinctly meaningful smile. Of course, supplementary massage can also be effective. Some women may experience secondary development during the breastfeeding period. My mother slapped her thigh in sudden realization. Understood. She just needs to find a man. Then her eyes lit up as she turned to look at him. Brian, your mom mentioned you just broke up. What do you think of my daughter? My head buzzed with shock. I quickly pulled my mother aside and whispered, Mom, stop playing matchmaker. My mother stomped her foot in frustration. I saw Brian's profile outside, PhD, associate chief physician, young and accomplished, and most importantly, he is handsome, perfect for our family genes. If I were 20 years younger, I'd have made my move already. He just went through a breakup. He is most vulnerable and in need of comfort right now. You should seize the opportunity. Brian, how about we exchange WeChat? That way if Eva ever feels unwell, she can consult you online. Brian lifted his gaze to look at me. I blinked frantically to hint, because he is still lying in my blacklist right now. Sure, he said, yet pulled out his phone and shoved the QR code page right in front of my face. Please scan it personally, Eva. I gritted my teeth and took out my phone to scan the QR code. With a beep, Brian's profile picture popped up on the screen, and a line of small text appeared conspicuously below the WeChat messaging page. Added to blacklist, you will no longer receive messages from this contact. Stillhaven T received your friend request. He reminded me. I gritted my teeth and secretly removed him from the blacklist. Done, he nodded with a smile. Alright, I'll send the medical instructions to Eva. I rolled my eyes silently. Bullshit, what kind of medical advice is there for having small breasts? A few minutes later, Brian sent a WeChat message. Complete guide to breast massage techniques PDF. Proper massage can promote development and prevent mammary hyperplasia. I gritted my teeth and smiled. Brian truly has the heart of a benevolent physician. Brian, I can provide free medical guidance. 5. Sweetheart, listen to your mother. You must win this Brian over. On the way home, my mother gripped my wrist like a female demon who decaptured the Tang monk. His father is a university professor and his mother is the center position in my square dancing team. Mom, we're not compatible. I clung to the car door in a desperate struggle. How would you know you're not compatible without even trying?
My mom seems to be obsessed with Brian.
She'd practically drag him here and throw him onto my bed if she could. The next day, while I was binge watching shows and snacking, she suddenly appeared. Go change your clothes, Auntie Sue is coming over soon. I grabbed my snacks and was about to make my escape. Then I'll hide in my room to watch. She stopped me with a firm hand. You silly child, it's so rude to hide when we have guests at home. I kept munching on my potato chips. Crunch, crunch, crunch. That's your friend. I don't even know them. She grabbed me, but you know her son. Just as we were speaking, the doorbell rang. My mom dashed over in quick steps. The two good sisters started chattering as soon as they met. Oh my, you didn't have to bring so many things. Well, I heard Eva was back home, so I brought some snacks. Oh, you're right, these are all Eva's favorites. Yes, Brian picked them all. ISNT this fate. Until I heard a familiar voice. Annie, hello, we meet again. My hand trembled, and I instinctively looked up. With half a potato chip still hanging from her mouth. There stood Brian by the entrance, dressed in a custom-made smoke gray suit behind his mother, his tie impeccably knotted, carrying bags of gifts in both hands. Looking every bit like a suitor coming to propose marriage. Oh my, this must be Eva, how beautiful. I awkwardly greeted her. Auntie, hello, my mom nudged me.
Go pour tea for our guest.
The two moms quickly claimed the prime spot on the sofa. Brian and I stood to the side, smiling quietly. Oh my, Eva just plays around all day, nothing like Brian, already an associate chief physician at such a young age. I heard he even skipped grades in school, and he is so tall and handsome. Lily, you're truly blessed. Oh, how could I compare to your good fortune? You have such a thoughtful little darling. Mine here is just like his father, a total mute who only knows how to work all day. The two mothers began exchanging compliments like business partners. Brian and I stayed as quiet as mice. Seeing this, they said, oh, you young people must have so much to talk about, you should chat more. My Brian is just too proper, he doesn't even know how to pursue a girl properly. Don't be shy, you'll get familiar with each other soon. It's not that we're unfamiliar. We've kissed so much our lips are worn out. I silently pretended to be a quail, while Brian quietly peeled an apple. I stared at his slender fingers holding the fruit knife, peeling the apple into something resembling a work of art. The two mothers were chatting animatedly, and somehow the topic shifted to us. I heard Eva is single too. That's right, she was seeing someone before, but they broke up before even meeting in person. My daughter is the same too, reserved, got dumped in a relationship, but still acts like nothing happened. That Eva's ex is even worse, heard he was flirting with female colleagues at the hospital. I quietly tugged at my mother's sleeve. Mom, please say less. But she simply couldn't stop her. I heard he is also a doctor, right? Which hospital does he work at? Maybe Brian knows him. I lowered my head and gulped down water. Brian's knife paused, mid-cut, the apple peel snapping with a snap. Suddenly, he looked up, his gaze piercing through his glasses with a hint of interrogation. Is that so? My mother fumed. Yeah, I heard from Eva that the scumbag ISN even good in bed, right? I nearly choked on my water. Clutching my chest while coughing violently, Brian reached over to pat my back. Oh my, Brian is so thoughtful. Look at these two kids, they're such a perfect match. My mom grabbed Aunt Sue and ran off. By the way, ISN, it's almost time for dancing downstairs. Right, let us hurry. 7. The two of them swiftly headed downstairs. I got up and walked toward my bedroom with Brian following behind me. Brian visiting someone's bedroom in broad daylight, where your medical ethics. I slammed the door shut with force. He braced his elbow against the doorframe and reminded me. My bedroom is still covered in someone's strawberry bear bedding set. Then change it. I glared at him. Replace it with your beloved blue sterile sheets. A foot suddenly wedged itself through the door crack. This guy was shamelessly leveraging his long legs to force his way in. Eva, when have I ever flirted with female colleagues? My mom, wasn't he talking about you, Brian? Don't take it personally. Then, why did we break up? I stiffened my neck and retorted stubbornly. Bad technique, had enough sleep. He suddenly leaned in, his nose almost touching my forehead. Bad technique, yet we had to change the sheets every time. Me, I'm so pissed. He sidled and I raised my foot to kick him. Then suddenly my calf muscle cramped with a loud crack. Ah! With a yelp I tumbled straight into his arms. God knows the cramp hurt so bad I nearly met my great-grandma in the afterlife. He caught me with lightning reflexes. What's wrong? I got a leg cramp. I'm in so much pain. Her haughty attitude instantly deflated. Don't move, just relax. He scooped me up in his arms and laid me on the bed. Where does it hurt? Thigh. His fingertips kneaded the muscles above my knee. Here I whimpered in pain. A little higher. His fingers moved upward here. I clutched the pillow, grinding my teeth. Brian, don't you dare take advantage. The corner of his lips lifted almost imperceptibly. It's likely a passive muscle spasm caused by sudden leg stretching. Relax your leg, he said, gently massaging with his hands. Gradually that tense soreness actually disappeared. I have to say his hands are truly skilled. His fingers traced over the little strawberry pattern on my sleep pants. Feeling better, I tried moving my leg. Doesn't he hurt anymore? The cramp had been on the inner thigh. At the moment the position was somewhat ambiguous. I nudged him with my toes. No need to massage anymore, but he took the opportunity to grab my ankle. His palm was warm against my skin. I was wrong to leave you on your birthday, but the patient had a cardiac perforation. Who wants to hear work reports? I kicked him in the chest. Anyway, all you doctors care about are your patients. He completely missed the point of why I was angry. Treating illnesses and saving lives is a doctor's duty. Everything must yield when lives are at stake. But no one would be happy to be stood up by their boyfriend on their birthday. Turning around to see him laughing happily with another girl would make anyone upset. And he didn't even try to comfort me. I turned away and ignored him. Eva. He suddenly looked up. On the 21st day after you blocked me, there was a car accident patient with the same name as you. That day I was scared to death. I froze. That day I searched for you like crazy for 4 hours. In the end I found you clubbing with friends. He lowered his eyes, looking somewhat aggrieved, like an injured big dog. Then For a moment I didn't know what to say. Alright, you've suddenly got me at a loss. The air abruptly grew warmer. He tugged at his tie and looked up, then undid 3 more buttons of his shirt. Lifting his gaze slightly, what met his eyes was the half-open collar, the faintly visible collarbone. He leaned in closer, his lips nearly brushing against the tip of my ear. Baby, don't be mad anymore, okay? His breath was scorching hot, making my ears burn and tingle. Looking at this face, I shamelessly forgave him again. He leaned in closer, his voice trailing with a teasing lilt. Baby, do you want a kiss? That damn man was seducing me again. Physical attraction is downright deadly. Been abstinent for so long I could practically push him down right now. No kiss is a wasted kiss. The faint strains of Drunken Butterfly's square dance music drift up from downstairs. Feels like we're having an affair. The sound of ambiguous kissing mingles in the air. It was so thrilling. We kissed until the world spun around us. Did you follow the medical advice I sent you? Not yet. His fingers wandered restlessly. As your attending physician, I'll provide hands-on guidance. Suddenly I remembered Brian's mom saying he was too proper. I cursed inwardly. What kind of proper man would grope while kissing? A wolf in sheep's clothing ate. Just as we were kissing passionately, inseparable, my phone suddenly vibrated. On the other end of the line my mother sounded frantic. Eve, your grandma suddenly fainted downstairs. Without another thought, Brian and I rushed downstairs. We found my mom pacing in circles with a bottle of quick-acting heart relief pills. Brian immediately resumed his professional demeanor as a doctor. Did you call 120 China's emergency number? Yes, they're on their way. He placed his fingertips on Grandma's wrist. Acute myocardial infarction. Don't move her. Let the patient lie where she is and wait for the ambulance. With his other hand, he deftly loosened Grandma's collar, performed CPR on the spot. The ambulance arrived quickly. We all followed them to the hospital. After a long wait, the emergency room door finally swung open. Fortunately, Brian acted swiftly with the emergency treatment, and the patient is now out of danger. A few days of recovery are needed, followed by a coronary bypass surgery. Brian will be the lead surgeon. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Until a doctor looked at Brian and teased. Hey Brian, that's quite the look you've got going today. Only then did everyone turn their attention to us. Brian's shirt collar was half undone. There was a prominent hickey on his Adam's apple. My clothes were disheveled too. In our hurry to leave, we each ended up with one slipper. Both of us sported swollen, reddened lips. My mom suddenly realized you two were you hiding in the room kissing. The air went silent. Brian awkwardly buttoned up his shirt. I cleared my throat and made up an excuse. I was from eating spicy sticks. Everyone hesitated. Just then Brian pointed at the hospital bed. Grandma's awake. Only then did the others shift their focus away from the two of us. He stepped forward. How are you feeling now? Any chest tightness? The moment my grandma opened her eyes, she saw his face. Suddenly exclaiming, oh my heavens, I must be dead. I'm actually seeing a male bodhisattva. My mother said helplessly. Mom, this is little Brian. He saved you from your heart attack. In a couple of days we'll need to perform a bypass surgery on your heart. My grandma snapped back to her senses and quickly said, thank you so much, young doctor. Are you married? Brian politely replied, not yet. My grandmother's eyes suddenly lit up. You build a bridge for grandma and grandma will build one for you too. Since I can never repay you for saving my life, I have a granddaughter. Let her pledge herself to you in marriage. Me on the side. Our whole family is a bunch of big perverts. My grandma pointed at me and said, take a look, how's my granddaughter? He stole a glance at me, the corners of his lips curling into a smile. Very well. My grandmother took my hand, her face full of melancholy. Sue, I just saw your great-grandma. She said I want to make it through this year, unless you get married to bring some joy to the family. Me no. The two mothers immediately started checking for auspicious dates on the spot. Let them get married. My grandma eagerly chimed in, is the betrothal gift enough? If not, we can sell the golden Nanmu, which your grandpa left behind. My head is buzzing. It seems my grandma has also fallen under Brian's spell. Lying in bed, she kept muttering about her grandson-in-law who was supposed to bring her good luck. The moment I stepped through the door, she waved the cake in her hand at me, showing off. Eva, look, the little cake Brian bought for grandma is so delicious. I pretended to be displeased. Didn't I buy some for you? Why aren't you praising me? The ones you bought grew mold. That was a pork floss cake. Just as we were talking, Brian walked in holding 2 cups of milk tea, a gentle smile on his face. Grandma, here's the milk tea you wanted. I looked shocked. No, old lady, you just got out of the emergency room and you're eating cake and drinking milk tea. She hugged the milk tea and slurped. What's the big deal, me? Brian suppressed a laugh as he handed me another cup of milk tea. Roasted brown sugar boba, milk tea, no sugar. Humph, at least he is observant. I started sipping my milk tea noisily too. Seeing the situation, my grandma grabbed my hand and started nagging again. Sue, I just dreamed about your great-grandma again. She said if you get married this year and have a baby next year, I'll live to be 100. Me, yesterday, you said you dreamed great-grandma was reserving a mahjong table for you in the afterlife. There's no contradiction, the old lady said, matter-of-factly pulling up her oxygen mask. Stop standing around here wasting my longevity. Go do what you're supposed to do. I'm waiting to hold my grandchild. Brian, and I got kicked out. In the hallway, Brian leisurely removed his stethoscope. The scent of disinfectant mixed with his woody cologne enveloped me. I have a surgery scheduled this afternoon, so I can't satisfy your appetite right now. How about waiting until I get off work? Migu Shuren. I haven't agreed to get back together with you, yet who said anything about doing that sort of thing with you? How does he manage to say such flirtatious things with that cold, indifferent face, without even blushing or skipping a beat? What are you thinking about? He smirked and tapped my head lightly. What I meant was it's mealtime, but I don't have much time to eat with you. Me damn, this guy, he is totally doing it on purpose. I ignored him. He reached out and patted my head, stroking me like a cat. There aren't any good restaurants near the hospital. We're short on time. Can we make do with the cafeteria for now? I wanted to refuse, but my stomach betrayed me with 2 audible growls. I silently followed him without a word. After picking our meals, we looked for seats. Most of the cafeteria was filled with his colleagues. Spotting me beside Brian, they began teasing us. Brian brought your family along. He nodded with a smile, looking unbearably proper. Even when we were together, he was always like this. Wouldn't he even hold hands? Had to maintain his image. So much so that people whispered behind their backs. Does Brian not like his girlfriend? They don't seem intimate at all. Little did they know what happened without the white coat. He could wear me out so thoroughly I couldn't get out of bed. That damn man putting on different faces in public and private. Just then a girl waved at us. Senior brother, there's a seat here. That girl was Brian's junior fellow student currently serving as his intern assistant. When chasing Brian, she gave me plenty of advice. And drank plenty of my milk tea too. Brian carried his meal and led me to sit with them. The junior sister's eyes sparkled the moment she saw me. Eva, why haven't you come to our hospital for so long? I opened my mouth then swallowed my words. I couldn't very well say it was because we broke up. Well, he has been busy with work, so I didn't want to disturb him. The junior sister didn't take it seriously and said with a giggle, you should come bother us more often. Lately, senior brother has practically turned into a longing for wife stone. Anyone who didn't know better would think he got dumped. Brian's eyes turned sharp as he looked at the junior sister, his tone serious. Finished writing the medical records. The junior colleague lowered her head sheepishly. Several coworkers gathered around curiously. We heard it was you who pursued Brian first. We're really curious. How did you manage to win over this unattainable flower of his? I froze in place, embarrassed, and said, well, just be persistent and never give up. At that very moment, a sarcastic voice suddenly came from the opposite table. Some girls are so enviable having the courage to chase after guys. They say men usually never refuse what is offered to them, but surely there must come a day when they grow tired of it too. I looked up. It was that female doctor from the other day. Instantly, my temper flared. I was just about to speak, but my junior colleague cut in first, mimicking her tone. Where did Emma hear such toxic nonsense? Let me ask you, male colleagues, if Lu Yifei were pursuing you, would you find it annoying? The guys chimed in all at once. I kneel to welcome her home every day. Laughing in my dreams. I take her last name. The junior sister raised her chin. Exactly, sister-in-law is beautiful and kind. Just imagine how perfect they look together with senior brother. Besides, senior brother has always been the epitome of self-restraint. I remember last month when that pharmaceutical rep with a huge chest kept showing up in tiny tank tops to ambush him after work. He nearly called the police. Honestly, was today as food oversalted. Why, as Emma's so worked up about senior brother getting girlfriend. Anyone who didn't know better would think Emma's secretly pining after a married man. That is borderline immoral, don't you think? This junior sister, sharp tongue, I'm treating her to 10 more milk teas for this. The female doctor's face turned bright red. With a loud smack, she threw her chopsticks on the table and stormed off. Several colleagues couldn't help but whisper among themselves. Gen Z really has guts. Normally, who dare to stand up to Emma, relying on her family ties with the director? The junior sister shrugged nonchalantly. I'm just an intern workhorse. What do I have to fear? Then she glanced guiltily at Brian and fawned. Besides, my boss is Brian. You've got my back, right, senior brother? Hee hee. 10. As it turned out, I ran into Emma again when I went to the restroom after dinner. Her eyes were red from crying. She stood before Brian, her fingers clenched tightly. Brian, I thought you always understood how I felt. Her voice trembled with a sob. In school, teachers and classmates joked that we were a match made in heaven. Back then you said you didn't have the energy for romance, so I waited for you, but you ended up with some girl who wouldn't take no for an answer. I'm truly disappointed in you. Turns out you're just like any other man led astray by lust. As she spoke, her eyes welled up with tears again. That Eva clearly isn't a decent person, you all. Brian frowned and coldly interrupted her. Emma, what right do you have to comment on Eva? Being cheerful and brave enough to pursue someone she likes makes her indecent in your eyes as a fellow woman. Why do you harbor such malice toward your own gender? Brian looked at her, his eyes unable to conceal the anger within. She opened her mouth, hesitating with unspoken words. But you two clearly aren't well matched. I can't accept this. Why should I lose to someone like her after silently loving you for so many years? In terms of education, family background, or career, I'm clearly better than her in every way. Brian let out a cold laugh, his tone unusually stern. Emma, I admit you excel in certain areas, and I do appreciate that, but the country has invested years in your education to save lives and heal the wounded, not for you to compete with another woman over a man. This behavior is truly beneath you. His gaze turned sharp, a flicker of displeasure flashing in his eyes. Moreover, in my eyes, Eva is the best. She surpasses you in every way. Having self-confidence isn't a bad thing, but taking it too far just makes you a laughingstock. My recommendation is to go to the 3rd floor and register at the psychiatry department for your delusional disorder. She was astonished that someone usually so gentle and polite could be so merciless. Brian, you. But Brian, wasn't he done with her yet? Or are you saying all this because you're jealous that Eva is prettier than you? The words hung in the air. Emma stood frozen, utterly humiliated. The truth hurts, but bad-mouthing Eva really pisses me off. Who knew this man could be so savage when provoked? But somehow it sounds incredibly satisfying. How come I never noticed this side of him before? Emma blushed, wiped her tears, and ran away. 11 a moment, he turned his head. He saw me standing there with arms crossed, glaring at him angrily. Turns out Brian is so charming. Not only does he have pharmaceutical reps with big chests coming to his door, but even a fellow female doctor has had a crush on him for years. I deliberately said it with a sarcastic tone. He tugged my hand innocently. I'm wronged. I didn't even glance at her. I scoffed with disdain. I don't believe it. She has been pining after you for years, and you never noticed. Who are you trying to fool? His face flushed with urgency as he hastily explained. I swear to heaven I truly didn't know, and I genuinely don't have feelings for her. Eva, you're the only girlfriend I've ever had. For a moment, I couldn't quite believe it. A little spark of joy flickered in my heart. So that meant Brian was completely untouched, belonging to me alone. I don't believe it. You've been single all these years. He sighed helplessly and ruffled my hair. You don't understand the struggles of a medical student. Endless studying and never-ending papers leave no room for romance. And after graduation, just endless consultations and surgeries. I pursed my lips, ahem, that Emma would be so perfect for you, balancing both work and romance. He gave a helpless smile. I'm looking for a wife, not assembling a research team. I don't want to date a colleague. Talking about work both on and off the clock would be a nightmare. I stared straight into his eyes and pressed further. Didn't you even glance at that pharmaceutical rep with the big chest that junior sister mentioned? He sighed helplessly. Darling, I have no obsession with the amount of breast fat. Then he quietly leaned closer to my ear and added with a low chuckle. Of course, if you have such an obsession, I'll dedicate my lifelong medical skills to creating a miracle for you. I angrily pinched his abs. Brian, be serious. Who told you to speed up? I couldn't help feeling curious. Could breasts really have a second growth spurt? With his long arms, he pulled me into an embrace, his tone somewhat placating. Baby, let us get back together. Okay, don't be mad at me anymore. I turned my head away and snorted coldly. No way. I think Emma was right. What comes too easily will eventually become tiresome. So, I think it's better if we just stay as bed buddies. Hearing this, he looked genuinely hurt. Baby, don't. I pushed him away coolly and reminded him. Brian, it's time for work. Bye-bye. With that, she dashed off without even turning her head. Damn man, acting all aloof. Who can't do that? 12 just got home from the hospital and finished dinner. Then I received a WeChat message from Brian. Baby, I'm off work now, just finished showering. Attached photo, a body wrapped only in a towel. 8-pack abs with clearly defined ridges, water droplets tracing along the Adonis belt poised to fall. I swallowed hard and secretly saved the picture. Reply with O. The typing indicator blinked for a long time. Brian sent another WeChat message. Your bedding set has been washed clean. Illustration, a pink quilt half covering the body. Damn man, so damn flirtatious. Am I really that easy to seduce? Keep saving, keep playing hard to get. Oh, a minute later another WeChat message arrived. Your little bear misses you. The accompanying picture was of the bear-shaped pillow I had bought. I gritted my teeth. Don't want it anymore. Throw it away for me. Throw away everything that's south at your place. Him, are you sure? Me one. A minute later Brian sent another WeChat message. Then I'll throw this away too. The accompanying image is my money tree. Brian's bony fingers are gripping its lifeline. Me, stop. Brian, if you dare touch my god of wealth, just try it. Brian, come get it yourself. I grabbed my coat and bolted for the elevator. Love lost can be found again. But lost fortune would be the death of me. 13, all the way to his house. As soon as the door opened, I fell right into a fiery, completely bare embrace. Brian, you actually. The fresh scent of shower gel mingled with his scorching breath wafting into my nose. No, I'm getting a little lightheaded. He lowered his head and chuckled. I water it often at one tea die. Then, before I could finish speaking, he suddenly lifted me up. I nearly gasped in shock. Speak if you must, but keep your hands to yourself. It's affecting my composure. I came to get my things. I stiffened my neck, putting on an indomitable expression. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, with a hint of teasing. Here your things have been sitting around for a long time. He turned around, his fingers actually hooking a tiny dress. I've washed it for you. You can wear it right away. I took a closer look. It was actually the skimpy little outfit I hadn't had time to wear before. Need any help? His scorching breath brushed against the shell of my ear. For a moment my thoughts began to wander. I don't want to, he chuckled softly. Not going to check what belongs to you. I glared at him. Then show me already. Alright, before I could even react, his hand pulled mine beneath the towel. This was totally unfair. I took a deep breath. Brian, stop tempting me. I want to be seduced by you. No way I'd lose control over something this trivial. He lowered his head and chuckled softly. Oh really? He drawled, his tone laced with skepticism. I don't feel anything for you now. I stubbornly held my ground a few minutes later. Baby, but I'm about to drown. He leisurely wiped his hands, calmly watching my limp body. Baby, tell me if you want it. I've fallen. Sweetheart, I noticed a few parts in your novel that aren't quite realistic. With a mischievous grin, he lifted me up and carried me to the full-length dressing mirror. As your personal doctor, let me give you a lesson on human anatomy. Clothes lay scattered about as I was forced to recite each mortifying line of description. With every phrase I uttered, he responded with practical demonstrations, teaching me that practice yields true knowledge. Then shamelessly pointed at our reflection in the mirror. Baby, look, it's so beautiful. I couldn't bear to watch. He even wanted to teach me a complete massage technique, getting more outrageous by the minute. This damn pervert. Utterly shameless 14. After all the commotion the next day, I was sore all over and too weak to even get out of bed. Still hurting, he hugged me from behind, his face full of concern. Furious, I kicked him. Brian, if I fall for your tricks again, I'm a dog. I'm sorry, baby. He quickly admitted his mistake, his tone carrying a hint of appeasement. I held back for too long last night and couldn't control myself. I'll be gentler next time. But yesterday, didn't you also? Shut up, lust has clouded your mind. How did I fall for his tricks again? I pulled the blanket over myself, and as I raised my hand, something suddenly glinted on my finger. Only then did I notice the diamond ring on my ring finger. I stood there frozen, unable to process what just happened. It was bought on your birthday. Brian hooked his finger with mine. You were already exhausted and asleep when I put it on you yesterday. I was momentarily stunned, so that day you wanted to. He nodded. Yes, I want to propose. After a long pause, I muttered. I always felt you liked me less than I liked you. After all, I was the one who pursued him, and he only agreed reluctantly. So this proposal was truly beyond my wildest expectations. How could it not be? He chuckled in confusion. Then what do you like about me? I pressed further. He lowered his head and gently kissed my forehead. I like everything about you. Being together feels joyful and wonderful. Spending a lifetime like this would be such a happy thing. My heart couldn't help but warm. So when did you start liking me? I pressed further. He cleared his throat lightly. The first time I saw you. Then why did you keep me hanging for so long without saying yes? I angrily punched him. If I let you catch me too easily, I was afraid you wouldn't cherish me. You scheming dog, how could there be someone like Brian, so proper, yet so sly? What a scheming person you are. Baby, say yes, will you? My mom has already picked an auspicious date. No way, you clearly fell for me, at first sight too, yet you played hard to get. This time you're the one who has to chase me. 15, as luck would have it, my childhood friend was returning from abroad. Eva Sway, come greet me. At once I've missed you to death. George's booming voice happened to be overheard by a certain someone. Who is he? The question came with eyes that held 3 parts curiosity and 7 parts jealousy. I deliberately teased him. He asked my white moonlight. Brian indeed left for work with a puzzled look. Not long after, my junior sister sent me some fresh intel. Sis-in-law Big Bro put his stethoscope on backwards during rounds this morning. Just caught him secretly reading after his white moonlight returned. I humbly stepped aside, using all mealtime to study foreign romance novels. Currently reading Self-Salvation Guide for Chasing Your Wife through the Crematorium. I nearly laughed my food out. On my phone, Brian sent a WeChat message. Baby, do you know where the 5th intercostal space, 1 centimeter medial to the left midclavicular line is located? I was completely baffled. How would I know? Brian, that's the point of maximal impulse of the heart. It's where the heart beats strongest. I rolled my eyes. Speak human, please. Brian, it's south your place. Me, God knows where he dug up this cheesy pickup line. And today he actually left work on time for once. Sweetheart, I'm off work now. Me, I need to pick up a friend. Traffic was terrible. George had already been waiting at the airport for nearly an hour. And Brian sent another WeChat message. Baby, I have a fever and feel terrible. I hurriedly advised him, then take some medicine. First I'll come see you after picking up my friend. He quickly replied. There's no medicine at home. My head is spinning. Forget it. Go pick up your friend. Don't worry about me. Have fun. It's fine as long as the fever isn't too high. There's no life-threatening danger. I stared at my phone, hesitating. My conscience got the better of me as George's 8's call came through. Eva, which galaxy have you wandered off to now? I turned around guiltily. My boyfriend has a fever. Take a taxi back yourself. George froze for a second before exploding. No Evis way, you traitorous friend abandoner. Why did he have to get sick now of all times? ISNT, he a doctor, can't he treat himself? Be cheese, be so extra. Yes, definitely a seasoned green tea, BTCH. My mom slapped me hard on the back. Get your ass back here right now. She hung up and immediately started rushing home. As soon as I entered, I saw Brian wrapped in a blanket sitting on the couch. Really got a fever. I reached out to touch his forehead, but he stretched out his long arms and pulled me into a tight embrace, his voice laced with a hint of seduction. Don't you want to try the 38-degree version of me? Brian used such a scheming dog, playing the sympathy card so well. He buried his head in the crook of my neck, his voice tinged with a hint of grievance. Your white moonlight has returned. I couldn't help but laugh, pinching his reddened earlobe. So Brian wants humility to step aside. He flipped my wrist and pinned me beneath him. I'm taking the lead. A warm kiss descended. The man was both domineering and aggrieved. Don't go see him, please. The end.